Well, the involvement of foreigners in crimes recorded in Ghana is becoming a source of worry to many now, and even general security situations, because there have been reports of a Burkinabe national who entered the country and a church in Hamile with a gun. Another Burkinabe was arrested in the same town for the possession of a gun. Now, some Nigerians have been linked to recent kidnapping cases in the country. And you know about the girls kidnapped in Takrade. The main suspect until now was one Nigerian national. For some, the situation could be a spillover of crimes in those countries. Could that be true? And how does that affect the Ghanaian? JoyNews editor Fred Smith joins me in studio with a catalogue of some incidents recorded so far, especially with regards to crime and security and the involvement of foreigners. Fred, what do we know?
Well, without sounding xenophobic, we have to indicate that we've had lots of cases involving foreigners, especially Nigerians, and I'll give you a list of cases we've come across. It is not to target any particular group of people, but it's to speak to the records as we've had them over the period. Now, you recall the kidnapping of these 3 girls in Takrade. As investigations went on, it was a Nigerian who was picked up in connection with this, Udutek. He's a Nigerian, and last week, we were told yesterday by the information minister that another person has also been picked up in Togo in connection with the same incident. This person is also a Nigerian. So it tells you the involvement of Nigerians in such crimes. First of all, I would like us to listen to the mother of one of these 3 girls who have been kidnapped, speaking at one event. She was actually talking about how a Nigerian may be behind this. Let's hear her.
So, Fred, that was actually a speechless mother, and
Exactly.
I remember that press conference very well. She couldn't utter words, but we've been hearing from the family since this incident occurred, and even today, they're still worried that their girls cannot be found. What the main suspect, this Nigerian you referred to, is in police custody.
In custody. The other one I want to draw your attention to is this boy. I think 2 months or so ago, we had a boy killed at Kaswa, and the residents suspect. Well, this place is not Kaswa, it's Kalabule, it's Wager, very close to Kaswa. This boy was found dead with parts of his body removed, and the residents suspected Nigerians to be behind it. In the end, the police made some arrests in connection with this. I mentioned the names of the people to you. Perotomode Genesis, he's a 28-year-old, 32-year-old Kelly Aluna, and Obuma Fabian, 21. All of these people are Nigerians, and they were picked up by the police. You recall some months back, I think somewhere last year, the Ghana Immigration Service team were also attacked by some Nigerians. We actually have a video of the immigration PRO speaking about this incident.
For us as Ghana Immigration Service, and by our mandate, we expect any property owner who intends to rent out such property to a non-Ghanaian to first of all check on the immigration status of that non-Ghanaian. And for that, the law says that if you ignore this and go ahead to rent out such property to the non-Ghanaian and you are found out, you are liable of contravention of the Immigration Act 2000. So recently we issued out a press release reminding property owners, Ghanaian property owners, to be mindful of the details of the law and ensure that whenever they intend to rent out the property to non-Ghanaians, they should ensure that they have proper immigration status. If they are not very sure, they should contact the nearest immigration office or refer such people to the immigration office for them to be issued the proper permit. Yeah, what section 52(1)(b) of Act 2000, Immigration Act 2005-73 says is that any such person, when he contravenes that provision of the law and is convicted, either he pays a fine of 1,000 Ghana cedis or serves a jail term of 2 years, or at times to both. So that is the punishment for anybody who contravenes the law.
All right, so that's Amakwanta, the immigration PRO, and what triggered this statement from him was the attack on the immigration team in Kaswa. We actually have footage of that attack, and I'm sure if the director is ready, he can show us how this incident happened. So the immigration officials had gone there to enforce the law on foreigners and their documentation in Ghana, and this is how they were received by the Nigerians who lived in that community somewhere in Kaswa. So you had a question? Is this place the border? They didn't want the immigration officials to enforce the laws once they have arrived in the country. And
we received a reaction from some of these Nigerians in that community, and they claim that the immigration officials were extorting monies from them. A claim that the immigration service denies.
They deny that, indeed. So we can also listen to ACP Kwesi Fori. He is the operations commander for the Accra region, and he's been talking about he's raised some concern about the involvement of some Nigerians in certain crimes. He appeared on the Pulse some 2 months ago, somewhere in April. We can hear him also speak.
Now we're putting our nose together. It started recently. We saw that some foreigners were behind the first two that we recorded, or three.
Nigerians,
including I would not like, to preach hate crime or so.
Not necessarily.
But it's a fact that they were Nigerians, right? And looking at the trend, we are looking at it in more critical terms, trying to do our analysis and be able to protect the Ghanaian and whosoever lives in our dear country. So as I said, to be able to fight it well, we've seen that the police have positioned themselves. That toughness is there. They are prepared, in rescue operations, in doing whatever to get the perpetrators. Now, last week, somebody was jailed 36 years. That speedy investigation, that speedy work done by the police is so commendable. And we've gotten a jail term. Now, the other regarding the
Spintex,
the Consular General, the Spintex one, you might have also noticed that today they splash even one of the kidnappers, photograph, calling for public support, calling for people to help arrest him. And that is a good thing. And they've also given assurance to the Ghanaian people that the police are ever prepared and to fight this crime.
Right, so that was ACP Kwesi Fori earlier on the Pulse, but briefly tell us about the impact this is likely to have on Ghana's image.
Indeed, if you realize Ghana is a country that wants to raise some amount of revenue through tourism, and for any tourist who makes a decision to come into Ghana, it will be because Ghana is perceived to be safer. On the sub-region, Ghana is thought to be the safest country or destination to visit because we are experiencing all of these crimes in our neighboring countries. Unfortunately for us, we've had some alerts issued in the wake of this kidnapping or abduction of 2 Canadian ladies. We've had Australia issue, we've had Canada issue, and we've had the United Kingdom also issue travel alerts. And these are very, very crucial countries if we're talking about tourism, tourists visiting our country. And so on the international scene, Ghana stands to lose a lot in terms of people visiting our country. If you want to come to Africa, maybe you want to consider somewhere else and not Ghana.
But in mentioning, there was an Estonian
yes, indeed. You recall the Estonian diplomat who was rescued by police after he had been kidnapped. We had this information from the police also that those who had done the kidnapping are actually Nigerians. They managed to escape police arrest, but at least police had information on them, and we know that's also a Nigerian act.
Thank you very much, JoyNews editor Fred Smith there. But what do these foreign nationals themselves feel about having to be suspected, in this ensuing a wave of crime in the country? Some of them have been speaking with JoyNews' Jean Claudel.
Yes, I've been searched by the police before. Well, I was surprised. I was anxious at first, but I got a bit scared because of the harassment that came from the search, actually, because having that, I was coming back from school and working on towards this road to buy food for myself for dinner. On that day, they searched me around there. I thought it was something more serious, but they asked to search through my wallet, and I had a couple of money my parents sent for me to feed for school. And seeing that money, they took me for a fraudulent person, and they were trying to sort of create a scene with me, telling me they were going to take me to the military police hospital.
I was quite depressed, overwhelmed, anxious, overpowered because of the method they use and everything. They don't even ask for your ID when you're being searched or anything. They just come around, they just park. And when you park, the first thing that comes to your mind is, what have I done? You get scared, first reaction and everything. Okay, so left to me, comparing the Nigerian police and the Ghana police, I will go with the Nigerian police. Because as for me in Nigeria, I've never been stopped and searched for the past 20 years, if we are speaking. But in Ghana, yeah, due to the fact that I'm schooling, I can't even take 2 steps from my hostel at night. You will see a van already by your side stopping you and searching you. I don't know if it's an attack or xenophobia, xenophobic, anything the world calls it. It's not just right, man. It's not right. That's how I feel.
Ghana and Nigeria, we are the same. If the government is bringing out this new policy that every foreigner should acquire all his documents before renting a shop or a house, I think for me there's nothing wrong with it.
I think it's the right thing. It's the right thing. If the government of Ghana is asking for documents, it's the right thing. Likewise, other African countries, they used to ask documents when you stay like. They give you 3 months, then after the 3 months, they'll begin to chase you to know whether your passport is valid or is not valid. That one is good.
To me, if I go like looking for a house, if you say I should bring my documents, I think the only thing necessary for me to bring is my valid passport. Even if you travel to Dubai or different Asian countries, at least the most thing, even though you don't have residence, one thing that identifies you as someone that is a foreigner is your valid passport. That is, when anything happens to you, that is where people know where you come from, your address, your hometown, everything is there. So talking about getting resident permit before you can have a shop or have a house where you can see, it's not everybody that has that money. That is number one. Number two, some people you see that came to this place, some people came in search of daily bread. Nobody is rich. And you remember, this is ECOWA. A Ghanaian can fly to Nigeria today, say that he wants to stay there to earn his own living.
But this is my first experience hearing that when somebody is going to rent an apartment on a shop, they will ask for some documents
And I don't know if they should understand. I am not against it at all. But one thing I understand, that Ghana is an ECOWAS. And ECOWAS brings all Africa to be one. There is some decision when you take in foreign country, you don't take it in Africa, not even your following Africa. And when you come about the whole West Africa, I think Nigeria and Ghana have this common relationship. You understand? So when we're talking about foreigners, I don't really know the people they call foreigners. Is it we who are married to Ghanaians, who have lived with them, who have been here in many years?
You heard that some Nigerians sharing their thoughts on various issues regarding to their residence documentation and some of them being profiled by police officers.